Hello and welcome. This is from the CBN. We bring to you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. I'm Oluyemi Sidada. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday, June the 16th, held its maiden biannual RT200 Non-Oil Export Summit in Lagos with the theme, Setting the Roadmap towards achieving RT200 and non-oil exports for development. We have the report of that summit in today's package. Also, the Development Finance Office of the CBN earlier in the week awarded Best Farmers under its Lagos Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund for outstanding performances. Details of all these events and more after this break. Stay with us.
If someone calls or sends you a message that you have payment issues with your bank and requests that you reveal sensitive information, end the call and don't click. It might just be a scam. No bank will ever ask you for your personal identification number, PIN, mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC. Scammers always sound genuine, but don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to phony emails or SMS, and don't click on any dubious links. Even if the other party calls your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details. If you suspect there's an issue with your account, the safest thing to do is go to your bank or call the number provided by your bank directly. Protect your bank details so no one steals your money. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Welcome back. The RT200 Non-Oil Export Summit is one of the 5 anchors of the RT200 FX program, an initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee to achieve the repatriation of $200 billion in export proceeds over the next 3 to 5 years. During the maiden edition of the summit, which held at the Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele asked operators in the non-oil export sector to consider providing a dedicated route for non-oil exporters in the country. Here's a report of the summit. The maiden edition of the biannual RT200 Non-Oil Export Summit was a promise kept. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, had unveiled the RT200 FX program on February the 10th this year at the Bankers Committee press briefing as an initiative aimed at achieving $200 billion in non-oil export earnings over the next 3 to 5 years. A biannual non-oil export summit was one of the 5 anchors listed that will help actualize the initiative. The summit has been anticipated since then. Putting a context to the event, CBN Deputy Governor Economic Policy, Dr. Kingsley Obiora, explained how the RT200 FX program was a response to the inward-looking policy stance of world economies.
As we all know, the global economy has been going through very difficult times. You look at inflation, for example, it's been reflecting 4 major factors. We've seen some hikes in commodity prices, especially food and fuels, and exacerbated by the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, 2 very serious, significant commodity exporters. We have also seen disruptions in global value chains that has been aggravated by the lockdowns in China, who, as we all know, is now the manufacturing factory of the world. We have seen some rebalancing of demand in favor of services, which are usually more expensive than goods. And finally, we are seeing some tightness in labor markets around the world because as people have become freer to work from home, it has made labor more available and tightness in the labor markets. All of these, though, have meant that we are seeing inflation at unprecedented and uncomfortable levels around the world. You go to the UK and the US, where for forever they had almost 0 inflation. They are now at almost 6% in the UK and the EU, and 9% in the US. You go to Argentina, for example, they are over 70% inflation. In Turkey, it's 58%. Right here in Africa, in Ethiopia, they are 36%. Ghana is over 31% at the last count. So when you look at all of this, you begin to feel that we are not doing all that badly in Nigeria at 17%. But usually when the globe sees such difficulties, they respond by coming together in one room to find a solution to a common problem. But that's not what we are seeing this time. A lot of people are looking inwards, and I'm sure the governor would talk about this in his remarks. And central banks have basically all around the world gone on a rate hike spree. In fact, in the last 90 days, we've had 60 rate increases all around the world. And even the Central Bank of Nigeria, MPC, raised rates for the first time in 2.5 years by 150 basis points, which one could consider to be aggressive. We saw yesterday the Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of the US, raised rates by 0.75%, which, according to history, is the largest they've done since 1994. So all of this means, though, that as you raise rates, it must affect growth. And that is why the IMF has recently revised growth from 6.1% they expected this year to 3.6% for this year and next year. And if you look at where they kept Nigeria at 3.4%, again, it just tells you that we're not doing as badly as we might want to believe. And so these inward-looking policies that the globe has taken, banning important commodity exports, means that here at home in Nigeria, we need to take care of ourselves. And the RT 200 FS program is a response to that we can do this on our own, that nobody would come from outside the country to help us survive.
Present at the one-day summit were government agencies involved in the export value chain, business people, financiers and practitioners in the non-oil export space. A turnout that makes the aim of the summit, which is to articulate options for solving every identified challenge, achievable. The CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, in his keynote address, emphasized the fact that the monetary policy alone cannot bear all the burden of expected adjustments needed to manage the challenges and difficulties in the country. He earnestly appealed to the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigeria Customs Service, shipping companies and other critical players in the export ecosystem to work together with the Central Bank and the Bankers Committee to end the urgently needed forex through non-oil exports to meet local demands.
At the time we were conceiving of this idea, we said we, the bankers, will play our roles. We will try as much as possible to provide cheap, affordable, long-term finance for companies that really truly deserve to conduct export activities of goods and services. But we feel, and that is the reason why we're here, that we cannot do this alone. That we need a handshake between the bankers, the central bank, between the exporters that are all involved in the value chain. But more importantly, with those of our brothers and sisters that are government agencies that are involved in the process of smoothing the process of export in Nigeria. There has been indeed unbearable difficulties and challenges involved or faced by exporters in exporting goods out of Nigeria. My brother Koko, you are here. You have a lot of work to do. We need your support and we beg of you. You are in charge of the Nigerian ports. Please, work with us. We are ready. The Bankers Committee is ready in any way to provide the needed support that can smoothen the challenges involved in our port operation in Nigeria. We truly and badly need foreign exchange to fund the import needs of our country. We can no longer continue as a country to depend on revenue from crude oil, where we have no control over price and quantity, where there are lots of challenges we are facing today. We all need to work together because it is a solemn pledge and responsibility that we have taken up as in this role that we can and we will do something as Nigerians to help our country. And we will need the support of everybody. All the bottlenecks involved, whether we need to create dry ports or we need to create any type of port that is needed to expand and make export operation easy in Nigeria, we need your help.
Pleased with the decision to hold the maiden RT200 Non-Oil Export Summit in Lagos, the host governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said the Lekki port at the Lagos Free Zone, when opened later this year, will serve to decongest the existing ports and improve non-oil exports in the country.
The Lekki port will be the biggest and the deepest deep-sea port in the whole of West Africa, if not in Africa, and that will give an opportunity, the rightful choices to export producers and people in that space. And I've also confirmed that even the Badagry ports were waiting to get a FEC approval. And so on the eastern part of Lagos, in another couple of years, we should also have another Badagry port. So what you will see is really to be able to completely decongest the pressure that we'll have with the Apapa port and the Tinkan ports in Lagos. For us as a government is to continue to be able to come up with policies and programs that will ease, the ease of doing business in our state and in our community.
The summit progressed to paper presentations on logistics, financing, regulation and the service industry by chief executives of banks, who thereafter anchored panel discussions around each area of non-oil exports on which their presentations were based.
So we'll set up those subgroups, submit to the Committee of Governors, work with them, work with the leadership of the different ecosystems, all right, so that in 90 days, let us even do something.
Actually, Nigerian Ports Authority, working with the Federal Ministry of Transportation and some investors, have identified a location in Bonny, and it has a natural draft of 17.5 meters. The OBC has already been approved. The FBC was approved by FEC, but we are amending it for some reasons, and then that approval will probably be given to us by July. So it means that you now have a deep sea port outside Lagos, which will further reduce the pressure in Lagos.
It was decided that members of the Bankers Committee will form a working group with key players in the export sector to fashion out the modalities for both short and long-term solutions proffered to the identified challenges and facilitate seamless export of goods and services for unhindered inflow of the much-needed foreign exchange.
Nigeria is a rich nation of green land, rich resources, countless crops and commodities sufficient to feed and provide a means of livelihood for her teeming population. Chin up, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Exciting times are here. We can be self-reliant and grow our economy if we work together to explore our potential. It takes a whole nation. Let us get involved. Buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Thanks for staying tuned. You're watching from the CBN, a weekly program that brings to you reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. 3 farmers who have benefited from the CBN Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund, ACGSF, in Lagos State were recognized and rewarded on Tuesday for their outstanding performances as Farmers of the Year 2021 at the Lagos office of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund was established in 1977, became operational the following year, and has since been consistent in facilitating access to finance for farmers in the country. According to the branch controller, CBN Lagos office, Mr. Godfrey Koyo, who was represented by Assistant Director, Mr. Nnemeka Okanyerioha, a total of 31,666 loans valued at about 6 billion naira were guaranteed under the scheme last year.
As is customary, Today, the bank deemed it fit to reward participants who have shown exceptional promise and dedication to growing our agricultural sector despite the numerous challenges faced. The previous year was particularly difficult with businesses trying to recover from the after effects of a global pandemic. This further underscored the importance of a nation's ability to feed itself. It is evidence that our commitment in rebuilding our agricultural might as a nation is crucial, not only for our subsistence, but also our economic relevance on a global scale. These awards are not only a reflection of our commitment to agricultural development, but also in line with our core values as an organization. I said it earlier. As the bank, through the Development Finance Department, continue to design and implement measures to improve food security by facilitating access to finance to the agricultural sector, we are confident that farmers will continue to grow and scale their businesses over time. I heartily congratulate all our awardees today. I'm assured that Nigeria is indeed on its way to solidifying its place as the food basket of Africa and indeed the world.
Lauding the partnership between the CBN Development Finance Department and the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture, the ministry's permanent secretary, Mrs. Olatokunbo Emopai, represented by Assistant Director, Mr. Olushina Oshobande, said, while the state struggles to close the gap between consumption and local production, which is currently at 20%, it relies heavily on the CBN to provide the financial support.
It is virtually impossible for us to produce everything that we eat in Lagos State by over 22 million within the state. So we are currently on 20% local production of our total consumption. We are striving by implementing our agricultural roadmap within the year 2021 and 2025 to ensure that we push that to 40%. While we are ensuring that we give our farmers and other stakeholders the needed input at a subsidized rate, through our empowerment program annually, we even give them grant in form of input every year to ensure that we increase production. We rely heavily on CBN, particularly the development finance, to provide the financial support through the single-digit rate, which is the cheapest you can get in the country, through their various programs, the Anchor Borrower, the ADD, the AADS, and of course, what we are giving the award on today, which is the Agricultural Credit Guarantee. So it is on this note that we are hoping that the existing relationship between the bank, the Apex Bank, and Lagos State will continue. We are on our own part, we cherish the partnership, and we cherish what the CBN is doing for the farmer in Lagos State and the farmer in the country as a whole. The state will not relent in its effort to provide the enabling environment for all the stakeholders on those value chains, particularly where the state has comparative and competitive advantages.
The Best Farmers Award is an annual event of the Development Finance Office of the CBN. The farmers who came first, second, and third at this year's ceremony received a cash gift of 50,000 naira, 75,000 naira, and 100,000 naira, respectively. And Lapo Microfinance Bank, who emerged as the best participating financial institution for the disbursement of the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund, was also recognized. Speaking off camera on the criteria for selecting the awardees, an official of the central bank listed value addition, number of times the loan has been accessed by a farmer, purpose of the loan, number of workers employed, among others, as the determinants, urging other financial institutions across the country to facilitate access to the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund for the benefit of farmers and for employment generation. The farmers who expressed gratitude to the CBN for the recognition and cash gift shared their experiences, noting that opportunities in the agricultural sector are enormous.
I've been accessing microfinance loan for about nine years or thereabout now. But one of the things I looked at was trying to innovate. And I realized that if we're going to go forward as farmers, we're having issues, financial issues because of inflation, access to inputs, that's raw materials and all that. So cost of feed was really rising beyond what we could control and all that. And the middleman was also giving us a bit of a problem because they come to the farm, they buy at the cheapest rate, and then they go outside and go and sell and make all the profit. And the farmers are actually at a disadvantage. So sitting down, I looked at it. During the COVID period, I thought about it. We were burying eggs and, we couldn't sell. Things were really, really bad. And we still had to meet up with payments from banks and all that, So I just thought about it and I said the best thing to do would be to have some value chain involved in this, And I remember all that CBN had talked about, trying to encourage people to get into the value chain and all that. So I said to myself, let's go into processing and selling to the end user. That way, if there's any problem, it's directly from our farm to processing to our store. We cannot meet up with the demand in the country, in all sincerity. If you kind of factor in the amount of chickens or poultry product being smuggled into the country, and I can still produce and still find a market, we're nowhere near being able to sustain what people really want here. The difference is the ability to actually produce at a cheaper rate so that there's no need to worry about customs. When the incentive to smuggle is defeated based on the pricing here, nobody's going to go to Benin Republic to go and pick chickens, because it's cheaper for me to actually walk into a farm, pick the chickens, or come to my own site where it's already processed, and then you sell to people.
A few years back, the feed that we used to buy about 6,000 is about 12,000, almost double. Yeah, so if you want to feed like 1,000 fishes now, we talk about close to 300,000 to 400,000 or so. And they eat more than human being. So what you give is what garbage in, garbage out. So with the availability of the fund, you'll be able to buy in bulk, and when you buy in wholesale too, at least if it is 200 or 300 on each bag, you are able to gain, because of the wholesale, whatever. So that too helps. We'll be able to even have a gain of like 50K, close to 100K on that. So that loan has been able to help to be able to do the production in an expected way.
I've been accessing funds from 2018 till date from the scheme. It helped me bounce back to business, bounce back to farming. I started farming. I got some good breeds of the pigs again, and my farm started developing. So far, it has been good, I can say. When the CBN visited the farm, they saw improvements. They saw growth in the aspect of the pig. I have so many in the farm right now. Then the snails that I have put in place is doing very well. It's wonderful. And not only that, I train young women and men into the business. A lot of them have gone to start up their own snail farms because it's something you can do anywhere you have space. It doesn't have odor, it doesn't smell, it's not stressful. I teach you how to incubate the eggs. I teach you how to make them grow. I teach you how to formulate the feeds. I teach you how to watch out for the pests and their diseases. If you know all these things, you are good.
Up until a few years ago, Nigeria produced far less than it consumed, spending up to $22 billion annually on importation. Then came the import policy by the federal government. Now, to survive, the nation must learn to be self-sufficient. And so far, we are on the verge of achieving this through the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders in support of local farmers
and efforts of value chain entrepreneurs. Now, the goal of creating 10 million jobs in 5 years through 10 commodities is gradually being actualized. Let's buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
In today's package from the CBN, we brought to you a report of the RT200 Non-Oil Export Summit, which held in Lagos last week Thursday, as well as the Lagos Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund Best Farmers Award Ceremony. Remember to get your unresolved banking issues across to the CBN Consumer Protection Department using the email address cpd@cbn.gov.ng. Attach relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center on the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local call rates may apply. Send your inquiries and comments to the dedicated email address from the CBN@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter for updates and to watch uploaded episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I'm Mulia Misidada. Stay safe and bye for now.